Welcome back to another episode on the Truckmaster Garage, and in today's video I'm going to show you guys exactly how to install an Airdog 165 GPH. If you're going to buy a lift pump, I highly recommend that you go for the Airdog products. I feel like these are the best on the market, as well as the best filters on the market. I never switch out to Caterpillar or Donaldson or anything like that when I'm installing an Airdog, because I know that these are way better quality than some of the other competitors. So 165 is good because if you go with a 95 or a 100 or something like that, you're sort of limiting yourself on your build. So if you decide in the future you want to put bigger injectors, or let's just say a bigger pump like a 10 or a 12 millimeter diesel injection pump, a CP3 or a CP4, then you're sort of limited to your fuel. That's kind of where I'm getting at. So it's always a good option to just go with that middle ground 165. Yeah, it's a few extra bucks, but it's definitely worth it because you have that peace of mind. You can always grow your build later. I put my mounting brackets right here. These are your two plates, which are steel, and you don't have to worry about anything. These are really strong. You have your spacer block as well as your mounting bracket that goes right on your frame. These will be your hose clamps for your fuel filler neck. I'll show you guys exactly how to install that. This really streamlines everything when it's barb fitting. You just really got to get some muscle and push some of those lines on there. It does come with 3 fuel fittings right here, which are push lock, which will be connecting right in there once you have everything installed. The thing I always like to put out is just a little bit of engine oil, and the reason for that is because I like to lubricate these threads before I install them. It helps prevent galling, and it really is just a good idea. And you have your long bolts right here as well as your washers. Make sure you line those up. You'll have 3 nuts as well, and those will be used for your mounting brackets. You will also have these 4 bolts right here, washers and nuts as well, which will be used for the mounting bracket. And then here is your small bolts, which will be inserted right in there. And this right here is going to install on this body right here. So I'll show you guys exactly how to do that. The little bolts go right through here, washer as well as a nut. Do all 4 sides, 1, 2, 3, 4. They are 11 millimeters. As far as my orientation, this fitting right here will be faced towards the rear of the vehicle. This will be your set screw. This smaller one right here is going to be your L right there, which is the fitting that goes directly to your neck where you fill the fuel at. This is your return. This right here is located right behind the fuel cooler. This is the rear of the vehicle. Kind of go up and you'll see this fitting right here, right above the fuel cooler. Of course, remove these fuel lines from these hard lines. But this line right here, your fuel tank, go right up on the top, and it'll be this fitting right here, which is the very end one. So you're gonna have to pop that one off as well. My other bracket, and this is the one where it only has 4 holes right there. You're gonna have your 2 bottom holes, which are gonna be oriented to the bottom of the frame. And with the kit, you have the longer bolts that you're gonna be feeding these through. This is what the Airdog is going to look like with the mounting brackets installed. Of course, I got to run the bolt right up underneath there. This is the other side of the frame. This is your other mounting bracket. So guys, again, I'm going to go ahead and run my bolts right underneath there. I'll tighten everything up, and then we'll go ahead and get to disconnecting those fuel lines. So this is going to be your fill tube, and we're going to go ahead and cut this thing in half, and we will be installing this right here. Notice this arrow right here. When you install this, the direction of that arrow has to be pointed towards the tank. There's actually a little directional flap, and that's what directs that fuel back into the tank. I'm gonna go ahead and cut this hose right now. And it should look something like that. But this time we're gonna go ahead and install our L fitting to the lift pump itself. Something that I always like to do with this barb fitting is put some oil on it. Make sure it's nice and lubricated. You got the oil on it, we're gonna go ahead and just push that barb fitting right in this 1/2-inch line. And then once that's done, we're gonna go ahead and clip this to the lift pump, and then we're gonna size to fit and then cut. This fitting right here is gonna be connected to the smallest fitting right here. You'll hear a click. Once you're secured there, we're gonna go ahead and route that hose on the back side, just like that, all the way up to the filler neck. Put an eyeball where you want to cut. I think I'm gonna go ahead and just cut right here. Should be plenty. Again, make sure you put some engine oil on there just to lubricate it. Something, you know, some sort of lubrication. And then go ahead and press fit this all the way up to the hose, and then we're gonna go ahead and clip it right there. Push until you hear a click and you know you're good. Like that. So the excess hose here, guys, I'm gonna go ahead at the end and just secure everything with zip ties so nothing touches anything. All right, guys, now onto the fuel cooler. Go ahead and go up top where you disconnected that line. And we're gonna go ahead and clip in this one right here. Once you clip that to the fuel cooler, again, size it up. Go ahead and put your fitting on the very end of it. You're gonna plug it in right here. Okay, so we're gonna go ahead and come up here to the top of the tank up here. This is the line that you're gonna wanna go ahead and disconnect right there. Go ahead and slide that in. Just pull back like that. If you are having an issue, guys, let me clip that back in for you. So it's clipped in. Really work it, like really get it in there. I know mine's coming out pretty easily, but that's not the case for most people. Hey, the only thing I can tell you is penetrating lube, maybe some compressed air inside there, and just really working with it. Best thing you can do is really push in to your actual fitting, and while you're pushing in, kind of work its way backwards. I already have the hose clipped to the top of the tank. So at this point, we have successfully installed all of our hoses. I'm gonna go ahead and secure everything off camera with zip ties like I said. I'll show you my routing idea. And after that, we'll go ahead and put the fuel filters on. So this is your fuel filter. And this right here is your water separator. Go ahead and spin those on. And you wanna let the O-ring do its job, guys, so you don't wanna over tighten these. That should do it like that. Here's one way to bleed the fuel system. Turn the key, don't turn the truck on, and then just keep the key forward for about 10 to 15 seconds. And the other way is to bleed the fuel from the actual fuel filter housing where the bleeder screw is. Go ahead and pump the primer a bunch of times until you see fuel bleeding out of there. That's also another way. And then other guys will actually fill this fuel filter full of diesel fuel and go ahead and put it back on there and turn it. So there's all kinds of different ways. I'd say the easiest way, go ahead and try this. Just turn the key, let it sit there, and let the diesel fuel fill this up. And then once we're ready to go ahead and just turn the key over. Now guys, clean install, professional. Everything's routed nice and clean, tucked away. No issues at all. Just think about it. At a shop, they're gonna charge you between $1,000 to $1,200 for the whole works, for the lift pump as well as installing it, when you guys can save yourself probably about $300 or $400 just installing it yourself. I know you got it. All right, so onto the wiring. To confuse you guys, but if you see this right here, don't worry about it. Go ahead and just zip tie it out of the way. You won't need that. I'm gonna go ahead and just route this right through the frame. You have the wiring ran through the frame. Of course, I gotta secure everything with zip ties, but there it is right there. It's gotta be all secure, man. We can't let this stuff flop around. The only thing that should be plugged into that is this little green connector right here on the end. But yeah, that's it. This right here is gonna be chilling, so make sure you zip tie that to that. Basically what I did is I ran the power right here to this top nut, which is a 10 millimeter. For some reason, I always love running my grounds right here to the radiator. I don't know, that bolt is so nice. It just tucks everything away nice. But I ran the negative and positive loom right around the battery and right alongside of this fuse block right here. This is the ignition fuse right here. So when I turn that key, it's gonna turn on the lift pump and you'll hear it. Let's do that right now. You can hear that pump noise. I think this is a lot better to do it this way, guys, because of course the fuel filter's on the other side of the frame, tucked away nice and clean. You can't see it, out of the elements. And on top of that, these Airdogs are probably the quietest on the market. So that is it for this video today. I appreciate you guys watching all the way till the end. And if you're interested in picking up one of these lift pumps from my website, I will leave that link in the description, truckmasterdiesel.com. I appreciate your time as always. We'll see you on the next one. Stay tuned.